Tom Costello also asked Mr. Settles from BP about the oil industry truth with which I have become obsessed since this disaster started, you might have noticed. Tom Costello asked why the drilling technology has come so far so fast, while the cleanup after a spill technology is the same as it was, say, 30 or 40 years ago. And while I'm not exactly sure what I expected BP to say when somebody finally asked them this question, I definitely did not expect the answer you are about to hear from Doug Settles.
You know, I think a lot of Americans are surprised that here we are dealing with the biggest oil disaster in U.S. history, and yet we're relying on technology to clean it up that is 30, 40, 50 years old. Has the technology to clean up a spill just simply not advanced? And if not, why not?
Well, Tom, I'm not the best expert on the technology, but I think events like this typically advance the technology by leaps and bounds.
We're still relying on booms, still relying on skimmers, still relying on shovels 40 years after the Extoc spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Why don't you have giant vacuum-sucking tubes? Why don't you have the most high-tech 21st century type of response to this?
Tom, I think that probably part of the reason is there have been so few big spills. The events haven't driven the technology change that's out there. I think this event probably will.
Hold on a second. The cleanup technology hasn't been developed because there haven't been enough oil spills. If only there had been some oil spilled somewhere in the last 40, 50 years, the oil industry would have been forced to come up with a better way to clean it up than the way they cleaned up, say, Santa Barbara in 1969, which is the same way we're trying to deal with this one 41 years later. If only there had been some oil spills. Let's just talk about oil spills from the last decade in one country on Earth. Let's just pick the United States. For example, in 2003, a large barge hit some rocks near Westport, Massachusetts. Dumped almost 100,000 gallons of oil into Buzzards Bay. Several oil spills in Louisiana during Hurricane Ivan in the year 2004. It's going to get crowded down there in Louisiana, I'll warn you. Also in 2004, the Athos 1 tanker dumped more than 200,000 gallons of oil into the Delaware River in New Jersey. That same year, the shipwreck, remember? The shipwreck-turned oil spill off the coast of Unalaska Island, which, of course, because it's called Unalaska, it's here in Alaska. In 2005, during Hurricane Katrina, there were oil spills all over the Gulf Coast, in Louisiana, in Venice, in West Potash, in Name, in Chalmette, in Port Fourchon, in Pointe-à-la-Hache, in Pilottown. According to Coast Guard estimates, it was like more than 7 million gallons of oil from a variety of sources that were spilled during Hurricane Katrina. There was the devastating Prudhoe Bay oil spill in Alaska in 2006. The amazing thing about that one is that it wasn't even discovered until 5 days after the spill started up there. That didn't go well. Oil spill at the Citgo refinery in Lake Charles, Louisiana, that same year. They blamed heavy rain. Heavy rain was found to have caused the 3 million gallon oil spill down there. In 2007, a cargo ship hit the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge and dumped oil into the bay. Remember that one? Oh, yeah. We're not leaving you out, West Coast. Then there was another oil spill in Louisiana in 2008 when a tanker ran into a barge that messed up a John McCain photo op, a drill baby drill photo op. That was really awkward. This year in January, there was a collision that caused a spill in Port Arthur, Texas. That spill, of course, was followed by the explosion and the ensuing disaster in the Gulf. Oh, and since then, there's more. Just this weekend, crude oil pipeline burst in Salt Lake City. So, again, though, it's only because there haven't been any spills that the oil industry hasn't bothered to come up with any new cleanup technology. If only there had been some spills, say, in the last 40 years.
I think that probably part of the reason is there have been so few big spills.
See, now, though, they're paying attention to this spill. This time it's going to be different. This spill will surely be enough to get the oil industry to update their cleanup technology for the first time since the 1960s. It's only because they didn't notice those spills. This time it'll be different. I'm sure they'll step right up and take care of it. I'm sure they will.